What's up, everybody? It's Lucky from Lucky's Muay Thai, and this is the first episode of the BCMA podcast. That's the Black Clover Martial Arts podcast. I wasn't sure what I was going to name it, or where it was going to go, or how it was going to come about, but you know me, I've been wanting to do this for a while. That's some Corona hair, by the way. Look at that. Y'all don't know what lurks under this hat. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I even did a couple episodes with a good friend of mine in the past. I've been on a couple of podcasts. And so I just decided, why not? You know, there's plenty of time. We are in the middle of a global pandemic, and people are dying, and people are confused. And, you know, I just want to tell you what a good friend told me so I don't have to harp on it for too long. And that's that you have to try to look beyond the virus. So in between my anxiety and panic attacks, I've been taking some time to do a little bit of studying. I've been doing a little bit of art. I've been, you know, at the gym with Jacob doing a little bit of painting and that kind of stuff, just trying to look for what's coming after. And I hope you guys are doing the same. And if you're not going through some struggles or whatever, then reach out to some friends, reach out to somebody to talk to, that you're not going through this alone, man. We are all in the dirt together. So, you know, let's try to do what we can to help each other out. All right. That being said, I'm loving this right now. So let's talk about UFC 249 real quick. I think everybody's done a freaking podcast or interview or something, because it's the only content of any kind that's really been going down. So UFC 249 rocked. It was great. It was what everybody needed. You know what everybody else needs. If you're in Florida, you need unemployment checks. But what do I know? Anyway, shout out to Justin Gaethje. His performance was masterful. Henry Cejudo retires after defending 2 belts in 2 different weight classes, which is not often done, if ever. And then big up to Africa, man. Francis Ngannou with destruction again. This man may not be overdue, but he is definitely due. Get this man a title shot and let's keep it pushing. Okay. So this is something I wanted to do. Let's talk story time.
Story time.
I've been writing these stories over the years on my blog, and I just feel like, you know, I'm going to start putting these on this podcast. So even if I don't have anything else to do, I'll come on here and tell you some stories about just martial arts stuff or whatever, different things that have happened to me throughout my life. Not that they're super interesting to you, but they're definitely interesting to me, and I like to hear myself talk. So, all right. When I was a kid, my cousins used to live, I grew up in the south side of Chicago. My cousins used to live in Cabrini Green in the projects. And if you know anything about Cabrini Green, it was, you know, a bit of a rough place. Google it. So I got dropped off to hang out with my cousins. You know, it was like 2 or 3 of us, a couple of their friends hanging out. We're going through the building. I don't know, playing hide and seek, whatever we're doing. I think I was probably maybe 7, almost 8 at the time. I think I started doing Taekwondo when I was 7. It was a great time, but I was always a little nervous. I always kind of kept to myself. I love my cousins, but I was just a little intimidated by the situation, the area. You know, I didn't know any of the people there. So we're hanging out in the building, and 4 or 5 other of their friends show up, or guys from the building. They're all around the same age. I think the age ranges were, you know, from anywhere from like, you know, 7 to, you know, maybe 12 or 13, even the biggest kid. When they rolled up, one of the kids had a broom handle in his hand. And I don't know how even the conversation started. Like I said, I was kind of quiet. I kept to myself. So I hung in the back, and I let those guys kind of talk and say whatever to their buddies. Well, they must have been talking about, you know, back then, play fighting, kung fu fighting, karate fighting was really huge, especially because we had, you know, kung fu on TV on the weekends and, you know, that kind of thing. That's actually how that whole Taekwondo thing kicked into gear, was watching Bruce Lee on the weekends. Anyway, so I hear my cousin say to one of the other guys, my cousin's doing Taekwondo. You should fight him.
You should fight him.
I mean, are you talking about me? Like, you should fight me? So I wasn't ever trying to fight anybody. Like, I don't want to fight anybody. Anyway, I don't know what happened, but, you know, these are kids, so everybody's getting pushed one way or another way and talking stuff, and, you know, you go and fight, or y'all gotta fight, and this, that, and the other, and I am mortified. Anyway, I end up in this circle of kids, you know, yipping and yapping and screaming and whatever. I have no idea what is going on, really. I am freaking out a little bit, and all I think is, like, I better get into my stance and raise my hands. And I think even before I got my hands to chest high, with this probably mortified look on my face, I see a flash of this broom's handle coming down at my head. Whack! Right in the middle of my eyes. So, like, right across. I didn't fall down. I probably stumbled. I wouldn't say I didn't do that. But I think I just froze. And I turned. I never saw him with the broom handle, so I never knew it was coming. I turned and walked out of the kids' spread. And you know what's ill is that normally if something happens, somebody gets hurt or whatever in a fight, kids are like, ooh, ooh. Yo, it was quiet. Nobody made a sound. So looking back, it must have been pretty bad. So I turned, I walked and the kids spread apart, and I just walked straight to my cousin's apartment, opened the door, walked inside, and sat down. And from my memory, my recollection, I don't think anybody ever talked about it. I don't know if my cousins were embarrassed by it. I certainly was embarrassed by it. But interesting story, man. I've had a bunch of little things that happen like this throughout my life involving martial arts. So, you know, and here we are all these years later. And I'm a gym owner. I've had fights. I've been a professional. I've done a lot of things in martial arts, and I'm super proud of it. And these little things like this is, you know, part of the journey for me, and part of things that happened along the way that made me continue and not quit. So I love telling these stories. I'm going to tell you a lot of them. So stay tuned. Listen, if you want to talk about anything in particular, if you want me to check on anything, let me know. I'm looking forward to all of this. I'm stoked, man. This is the first episode of the BCMA podcast, and this is Lucky from Lucky's Muay Thai. I love y'all. Stay up. One. Peace.
Don't wanna complicate ya.